Hello and welcome to the Super Soul Model series. I'm your host, James Granström, and thank you so much for tuning in. And today we have a special guest, and our guest today is Noah St. John. Welcome, Noah. Noah is known as the Power Habits Mentor and is famous for inventing AFFORMAtions and teaching people how to get rid of their head trash and attract more abundance without the guilt. Noah is the only author in history to have works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Schuster, Mindvalley, Nightingale-Conant, and Chicken Soup for the Soul Publisher. He also appears frequently in the news worldwide, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, BBC Radio, Success Magazine, and the Huffington Post. You can learn more about Noah, and I'll put all the links below at the bottom, on his affirmations method at www.affirmations.com. But let me introduce you to this week's Super Soul Model, Noah St. John. Thank you, Noah. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate having you on the show.
Great to be here, James.
So Noah, first and foremost, you discovered this incredible belief-changing method called Affirmations, and it's really transformed my life significantly. So, you know, when I reached out to you and you decided to come on the show on the Super Soul Model series, I was really thrilled, but I was using Affirmations to help me, and it has helped me massively transform. So how did you discover this incredible belief-changing method? And what is the Affirmations method, and why do people love it so much?
They really do get very excited, James. Like you
I get excited by it. I mean, you know, I think it's like the best secret ever. You know, I really, you know, mind secret, and I'm all about mind, body, soul, but it is really, it allows your mind to be the driver. But please tell us, you know, why do people love it so much, and how did you come across it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, just to give you a very quick backstory, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. So from a very young age, I was painfully exposed to the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community, and the have-nots was my family. So I hated that life of poverty and fear and lack and not enoughness. That's what I knew of my family. But right down the street, I saw great wealth and abundance. So I said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way to get out of this poverty, because right down the street, there's people that aren't living like this. And so I realized that I had to find a way out. And I'm basically the nerdiest nerd in the industry. What I mean by that is when I see there's a problem or something that I need to solve, I just get in there, roll up my sleeves, and I get down to the molecular level, and I just don't stop till I fix it. And so that's what I've always been like. So from a very young age, I just started reading books on self-help, personal growth, all the classics, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Stephen Covey, you know, and I just read those books and just devoured them. And I really, really tried to get them to work, but I just couldn't seem to get ahead. I couldn't seem, as much as I was reading and studying, and I was following what the book said, I just couldn't seem to get ahead. So one of the things that the books, every self-help book, if you ever read a self-help book, they all say the same thing, right? They say use these affirmations, right? So everybody knows that an affirmation is a statement of something you want to be true. So like this is a game I like to play, like when I'm speaking at live events or where I'm doing virtual trainings now, all for companies all around the world, or even when I'm doing one-on-one coaching with my coaching clients. One of the things I like to do is have people say, okay, well, I tell them, all right, we're going to use an affirmation now, just like they taught us, right? And so we've all been taught to use this. So everybody say, I am rich. All right. So everybody goes, I am rich. And then you know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. And I go, well, what are you laughing at? And they go, well, I'm not rich. And I said, but you just said you were. And they go, yeah, but I don't believe it. And I say, aha, see, now that's the problem, right? With the traditional affirmations method, there's nothing wrong with the statement. The problem is we don't believe the statement, right? So they told us, well, just repeat it 1,000 million billion gajillion times, and someday, you know, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years from now, you'll believe it. Now, for some people that worked just fine, but for millions of us, it didn't work at all. That's what happened to me. I'm reading all the books, doing everything they said. I followed directions, right? And I put it on the wall, and I wrote it down, right? I'm happy, I'm successful, I'm fulfilled. No, I'm not. I'm broke, unhappy, and miserable. Right? So like, this isn't working. I was so frustrated, right? And I've come to find out, of course, millions of people feel the same way that I did. And so anyway, back in April 1997, I've been studying all this for many, many years, ever since I was a kid. And April 1997, I was in the shower thinking about all this. In my books, like in my Affirmations program, at AFFORMATIONS.com and my book of Affirmations published by Hay House. I call it the shower that changed everything, right? Because, we all have those aha moments in the shower, right? And so in this particular morning, I said, now, what are we talking about? We're talking about beliefs, but what is a belief? Well, belief is just a thought. So what is thought? And I realized that human thought is the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, not statements, but questions. So I said, now, wait a minute. If the human mind is automatically searching for answers to questions, why are we going around making statements we don't believe? Why don't we just cut out the middleman and go right to the question? And I said, well, I don't know. What would that look like? So let's see. So you got the statement or affirmation, like we were taught, I am rich, to which your brain says, yeah, right. Yeah. Right. In my books and my training programs, in my coaching, I call it the yeah, right response. That's literally what your brain says. Your brain goes, yeah, right. Right. I don't believe it. Right. And so I said, okay, well, if that's the statement, then what would the question be? And I said, why am I so rich? Why am I so rich? Now, when you ask that question, what immediately starts to happen in your brain? You start to search for the answer, right? So I said, well, wait a minute. What are we talking? We're talking about the law of sowing and reaping. As you sow, so shall you reap, right? This is what I teach in my books, my online courses, my coaching. This is nothing new. It's been taught for centuries. But what are we sowing? That's the key question. What are we sowing? Well, we're sowing seeds of thought. But yet, what are most people doing? Sowing lousy thought seeds. Why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why can't I lose weight? Why isn't my business growing? Why can't I get more customers or clients or patients? Why is there more month left at the end of the money? And when you ask lousy questions, what do you get?
Lousy answers.
Right, lousy answers. And that creates a lousy life. So I said, wait a second. What if instead of asking lousy questions that lead to lousy answers create a lousy life? What if we just flip the whole thing on its head, start asking empowering questions that lead to phenomenal answers and create a wonderful life? So as I was standing there in the shower, April 1997, I said, holy cow, I think I just invented something. And so I had to give it a name. The name that I gave it was Affirmations, AFFORMATIONS. Yeah. That's what AFFORMATIONS.com is all about. And that's really how it started. And now, long story short, all these years later, over more than 2 decades now, we've actually helped over 1 million people now around the world, in over 120 countries, to learn my Affirmations method. And, my mission, my goal here on the earth is to help 1 billion people to learn and use my Affirmations method. So, we got a long way to go, but it's really been an amazing journey.
You've done a great job. And, one of the reasons why I had you on the show is, and so happy to have you on the show, Noah, is because of your infectious energy and the enthusiasm that you have for your message. Even 20 years later, you're still incredibly enthusiastic about your message because, your message has really transformed my life. And I never thought I would be saying and talking about what I'm talking about now, but it really has been like the final click in unlocking what I've been up to. And it's been fascinating for me, because I'm all about health, happiness, well-being. And this is like the final chink. If you get this sorted, everything else falls into place. So Noah, I'm so thankful that you asked those tough questions in those early years, and when you were scribbling down your affirmations going, come on, there's got to be another way. And it's always when you have the pain that sometimes the answer comes, and as you say, it always comes in the most sort of unusual places, like the showers and stuff like that. Now, Noah, you talk about head trash. You say that head trash is the #1 reason why many people feel stuck. We talk about that in that book, but for the premise and for the audience here, what is head trash and how does it keep people stuck?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually wrote a book about that. Actually, I've pretty much written 15 books about this one subject, which is getting rid of your head trash. But this is one of my new books called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. Okay. And actually your listeners, your viewers can get this for free at sendmeabooknoah.com. But, and so anyway, what people ask me all the time is, Noah, how have you helped people to double or triple their income in less than a year? How have you helped people to lose weight? How do you help people to grow their business and you have more impact, more income, more influence? How do you do that? Well, one of the ways that I do that is exactly this, is helping people get rid of their head trash. So the question, of course, is, well, what is head trash? So head trash, what I've been teaching for, these many, many years, is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it because, dot, dot, dot. Right. So people say to me all the time, well, Noah, I want to double my income like your clients do. I want to write books like you've done. I want to have an online business like you help your clients do. But I can't do it because dot, dot, dot. Right. And then here comes the excuse, right? Well, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't know what to sell. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who to trust. I'm married. I've got kids. I'm divorced. I'm a Martian, whatever it is, right? We have all these excuses. And what is so funny, what I want your audience to realize is that you always make yourself right. See, we humans have an almost infinite capacity to make ourselves right. What I mean by that is if you say, well, Noah, I want to grow my business, but I can't do it because I don't have the time, guess what? You're going to be right. But meanwhile, I can come in and show you hours, probably 1 to 4 hours every single day that you're wasting not doing the things that you could and should be doing to grow your business. And meanwhile, you're telling yourself you don't have the time when really that's a lie. Or you're saying, but I don't have the money. I can come in and show you all the holes that are in your boat, right? You're spending or wasting money on all these things that aren't getting you towards your goal. So the point that I want people to realize is your head trash is that voice that says, I can't do it because, but this is one instance when you don't want to be right.
Yeah. So essentially your mind is like a filter. It's constantly filtering things. So that's what I've discovered. And I feel like your affirmations method has been like the secret link to everything clicking into place. But that's my experience. But again, what I always love to share with my audience is don't believe me. And I'm even going to say this, don't even believe Noah, because until you have your own experience, these are just words. This is just somebody else's experience. But when I did start doubling my income, and when I did start saying to myself, why does everything always work out for me? Which is what I share with my audience always. Make sure you have that in your head. I share it with my folks. I share it with anyone who wants to listen, but I don't ram it down their heads. What I do is I just gently say, well, there's that parking space. See, things have worked out, just those little things, but they do make such an impact, Noah. So I love that, the head trash. I love the way it's like a filter and you don't want to be right about your head trash because your mind will find the reason why not to. That's right. So you also teach, Noah, about to live a freedom lifestyle. What does that mean? And how can we live a freedom lifestyle in today's challenging times?
Right. Absolutely. So, we have online programs, I have courses, and of course we were doing live events. Now we do virtual events. Like I have a virtual event called the Online Business Retreat at onlinebusinessretreat.com, where I actually teach you how to live a freedom lifestyle. So one of the things that I've been teaching my clients for many, many years now is that a freedom lifestyle is what we entrepreneurs want, right? Think about this for everyone watching and listening to this program. Why did you start your business? Or why do you want to start your business? Why do you want to have your own business and be a business owner, be an entrepreneur? People say, well, I want to change the world. I want to make a big difference. I want to have an impact. I want to influence. I want to make a lot of money. All those things are great reasons. But what I've realized is that it really comes down to 4 things. You want to have the time, you want to have the energy, you want to have the relationships, and you want to have the money that you really want. That's really what it comes down to, those 4 elements: time, energy, relationships, and money. Because think about this. Imagine you have $1 million and you don't have any time to enjoy it. Would that be freedom? Would that be abundant? No, of course not. What if you have $1 million, you don't have any energy? What if you're, depressed or angry or sad all the time? That's no fun. That's not freedom. What if you have $1 million and nobody to enjoy it with? No, you don't have the right relationships, right? That's not freedom. And of course, we do want to have money. Money is very important. People who say, well, money isn't everything, probably don't have much, number one. Right. And number two, people say, well, money doesn't buy happiness. But in the words of the great philosopher David Lee Roth, he said, well, money may not be able to buy happiness, but you can buy a yacht to pull right up next to it. So that's good.
Well, money is extremely, you need money. We live in a physical world, you need money. And money gives us freedom of choice, which goes back to one of your tenets of being. So I think that's so super important. And, get your head sorted, you get your mind sorted by asking better questions. You're going to find more opportunities, or at least get yourself set on finding those opportunities, even though they might not be present in your awareness yet. So that freedom lifestyle that you're talking about, I think is something for everyone to go and check out. Now, what's the number one mistake, Noah, people make when it comes to reaching their goals?
I think there's a lot of mistakes that people make. I've certainly made tons of mistakes in my life. You know, that's one of the reasons that another reason I wrote this book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. The subtitle is How to Avoid the 3 Big Money Mistakes That Even Smart People Make. And as I said, you know, I've made all these mistakes and many more. I mean, I ended up paying all these gurus over $500,000. You know, all the gurus, the marketing guys out there, I paid them over $500,000 only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. So, I mean, I not only lost a lot of money, but I lost a lot of time, which you can't get back. Sure. And also number 3, I lost a lot of self-confidence because, you know, they really took away my confidence, and that took a long time for me to get back. But so one of the big mistakes that I see people making, quite frankly, is not getting rid of their head trash, right? Because people, as I just stated, you know, they have a really, really big investment in being right. Everybody wants to be right. There's the author, Will Rogers, is quoted as saying, "It ain't what a man don't know that gets him in trouble. It's what he knows that ain't so." So think about that. To paraphrase, it's not what you don't know that gets you in trouble or hurts you. It's what you know that isn't true, right? Yeah. In other words, people say, well, Noah, I want to grow my business. I want to publish a book. I want to have my business online, but I can't do it because. And they make themselves right. And so this is one area, friends, you don't want to be right. And so that's one of the big mistakes.
Coming straight down.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And it cuts off opportunity. It cuts off the door that's right there in front of you. I mean, think about this. I've been teaching this for over 2 decades, you know, and the number one thing we hear all the time is, where have you been hiding? I wish I'd found you earlier. I'm like, I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm right here, you know, but until you take the blinders off, then you probably wouldn't even see me or hear me or know about me, which is why it's so wonderful that you're listening to and experiencing this program right now.
Absolutely. And no, it's quite interesting because very similarly, you know, I started doing the affirmations back in about 2000, planting them everywhere, vision boards, all this kind of stuff. Then I began meditating. Meditation and prayer has been so powerful for me. And then, but some things were coming true and some things were not coming true. And I didn't even discover you to your book, you know, the Affirmations method. I didn't come across the book of Affirmations, excuse me. I didn't come across that until I think it was published in 2016, was it, or 2015?
Well, ironically, this Hay House edition, you mentioned Hay House earlier, which is the world's largest publisher of self-help. This is actually the 4th edition of this book. Believe it or not, this book has been in publication in one form or another since 1999.
You are kidding me.
This book's been around a long, long time.
I've been into looking at self-help and, you know, going introspective for a very long time. So it's almost 20 years. And, you know, I didn't come across your book till, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And when I read it, I'm like, man, this is unbelievable. This is one thing I like to read over and over again because I love the success stories. I love the stories. And I just think, God, it's very simple, but yet unbelievably powerful. But I couldn't see that because obviously my blinkers were down, weren't they? So until your head sort of opens up and you're able to see something new, then the experience comes in. And blessed, you know, I put your affirmations to work, and they really do work, Noah. And of course, I create my own as well. But what makes your programs different then, Noah, from, I don't know, from other personal growth programs? You said you spent like about $500,000 on other people's programs. That's a lot of money, by the way.
No kidding.
God, I mean, I should slap your hand for that. I mean, you should have realized that earlier. But, you know, what makes your program different then? I mean, I can sing your praises. It's easy for me because I've had my own experience. But for the opportunity for the audience here, you know, what makes your programs different here?
Honestly, I think one of the things that makes them different is because I'm the nerdiest nerd that in the industry, that I can't stand it when something isn't fixed. I just hate it. And I've always been that way, you know, ever since I was a little kid. And so that's one of the reasons I spend all that money, you know, with all these so-called gurus. And what I realized is that they're very, very good at promoting themselves, but they suck at teaching. They truly can't teach. And one of the reasons for that is because they're unconsciously competent. They don't actually know what they did. They just sort of did it. And so that's great for them. But what about the rest of us, right? What if I'm sitting there saying, hey, but I really want to master that skill, or I really want to have that result in my life? And they're like, well, just do it. Just set your goals, think positive, believe in yourself. And I'm like, okay, that didn't help, right? And so there's no there. And so what I realized, it's really like having a recipe, right? When it's dependent on that person's personality, then it's just luck of the draw. It's like winning the lottery. You either have it or you don't, but you can't really do it. You can't make it happen. But when there's a recipe, when there's a framework, a plan, a blueprint, that's what I give to you. That's what I give my clients. That's why my clients get such incredible results. Like, I mean, you know, we've had people, I had one woman named Susan, she hired me. She was $60,000 in credit card debt, and she was about to declare bankruptcy. After a year of working with me as her coach, she created a six-figure income doing what she loves, and she published her first book. She asked me to write the foreword for the book because of how I changed her life.
I bought that book. I read it. Brilliant.
Yeah, I know. And that's, I mean, we have that. We, you know, another one of my clients, Sheila, went from making $5,000 a month in sales to $75,000 a month in sales, a 15 times increase. So the point is, I'd rather brag about my clients than me. And I mean, because if it's just about me, then that means there's no system, there's no recipe, there's no blueprint. I don't like that. And I think most people don't like it. I think most people want to have a blueprint, have a framework that works, that is a system, not based on someone's personality.
Yeah, I love that, Noah. It's almost like you're creating a nurturing, like a legacy that people can, you know, take long after, you're gone, so to speak. And that blueprint will, like, because it's the strategies that make, if something works, you're going to keep doing it. And I think that's beautiful. I guess one of my questions I'd just like to sort of add in here is, like, when you first started and you first had your, that shower that changed everything, what was like the first questions you were asking, for you? And then how long did it take you to start having your own personal change?
Yes, well, it's really funny because in 1997, I was a broke college student. This was my second time in college. And I had that epiphany that I shared with you and that I talk about in my books. And I went, wow, that is so cool. I can't believe no one's thought of that before. And I'm like, that is awesome. And then I said, well, now what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do with this thing. I'm like, this is really cool, but I didn't know what to do. Remember, this is 1997. Yeah. There was no Facebook, Google was like 7 months old at the time. There was no blogging, there was no YouTube, nothing like that. So it was very, very hard to, put something out on the internet and I didn't know how to do that. And let alone with publishing a book, right? There was no Kindle, print on demand, all the stuff we have today. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Well, then what happened was in October of 1997, I had the second epiphany that changed my life when I discovered what actually became the Power Habit System, we now call it the Power Habits of Unconsciously Successful People, which I teach in my Power Habits book and Power Habits Academy online program. And so what that means is I discovered this. This is why, and if you can see this picture here, but anyway, this is what highly successful people do unconsciously that they can't teach you. Like I was just talking about all those gurus. So I said, oh my gosh, now I got it. So then I actually published my very first book back in 1998 called Permission to Succeed. And that is what actually I self-published this book. And then about a year later, I met a man named Jack Canfield, who we all know from Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Love Jack's work.
He's great. And he loved my work. I handed him my self-published book. He loved it, sent it to his publisher. And that's how I became published. My first publishing contract was with the Chicken Soup people, as you mentioned before. So
lovely story.
That's how it all happened.
And so was your first affirmation, why did I give myself permission to succeed?
Well, when I discovered AFFORMATIONS, my AFFORMATIONS method, I literally just sat and wrote. I have journals, a pile of journals about this high of AFFORMATIONS. So yes, it was about everything in my life because I've been working so hard for so long with so little to show for it. That's, using the affirmation method. Now, I'm not saying the affirmations don't work. I'm saying they didn't work for me and they don't work for millions of people. So, I'm kind of normal. But anyway, my point is...
Because I think what you just said there is really interesting because I looked up yesterday and I was really fascinated by that because this is why I love your story so much. And I love what you teach, Noah, is you said it didn't work for me because some things work for some people and they don't work for others. Right. But what they found is with the affirmations that if you had a level of, it's usually to do with your environment in your early years. If you are breeded in a confident environment, you're able to be confident at a young age, and you feel more than enough, you feel more than adequate. Those affirmations will work for you. That's why they work. But if you don't feel like that, they won't. And that was a
That's exactly right.
2009 published study. And I was like, wow. And I looked up at that online yesterday and I thought, well, I'd love to mention that to Noah because that is really interesting. And
yes, I'm very familiar with that study, having been teaching this for many years. And so,
but it was really for the benefit of my audience. I was just thinking, man, this is really
yeah, absolutely. No, it's something they don't tell you in self-help. You know, remember the guru. So it's basically like, here's what they're really saying. If you already believe you're good enough, then you can believe you're good enough. It's basically like saying, well, as long as you have $1 million, then you can have $1 million. It's like, wait a minute, time out. What about the rest of us, right? Yeah. I don't believe in myself. I'm not confident. I don't have that $1 million yet, or whatever it might be. I haven't lost the weight. You know, it's like saying, well, as long as you lose 20 pounds, then you can lose 20 pounds. Wait a minute, you're not even making any sense, right? And so that is exactly what that study found. Again, I'm familiar with the study you're talking about. And it literally said that it's basically like 20% of you know, the people that they studied, you know, already have that confidence, already believe in themselves. So if you say, I'm confident, I believe in myself, yeah, well, no kidding, I was already there. But for those of us that aren't there, we're just like standing over here waving and saying, how am I supposed to get there? So that's what I believe my AFFORMATIONS method represents. It represents the bridge for the rest of us, which is by far the majority of us, to get over there to where those guys already are.
And boy, does it work. Boy, does it work.
Yes.
Boy, does it work. So another thing that I wanted to ask you, you know, like I've got loads of nephews and nieces. I love the little ones. You know, they've got such a bright spark of energy. And I watch these little kids. You know, they're my sister's kids, and I just think to myself, you know, oh, how would affirmations work on these guys? And so that's the question. Young minds are very not that I'm with them the whole time, but I go and see them most weekends, and you know, we hang out, play a bit of football, go on the trampoline, play a bit of tennis. And it's lovely to see them feel like anything is possible. But do affirmations work on the younger minds as well as like adults?
Oh, no question about it. Like in my Affirmations system at affirmations.com and my Affirmations book, affirmationsbook.com, we have tons of stories of adults and kids that love affirmations. I mean, let's face it, kids have very plastic minds, meaning they're easily shaped, right? I mean, they're not fully formed, right? The studies show basically a brain isn't fully formed until somewhere around 15 to 18. I mean, you know, the years vary, of course, for each individual. The point being is that kids love affirmations. I'll give you a quick story. I had in fact, the story's in this book. One of my clients named Mary came to one of my seminars. She hired me as her coach. She was in business, an entrepreneur. She had her best year ever as a result of getting coaching with me. And she asked me the same question. Hey, Noah, can I teach my daughter these affirmations? I said, of course. And I said, well, and she said to me that she was feeling a lot of anxiety. She had had trouble sleeping. Even though she was very smart, she got great grades. She was like, you know, a straight A student, but very anxious, you know, and just sort of, you know, just not really relaxed or didn't believe in herself. So Mary taught her daughter, Stephanie, the affirmations method. She was about 15 years old, Stephanie. Okay. And literally that same night, she never had a problem falling asleep again. She felt better about herself. She started feeling more confident. Ever since, you know, since that time, she went on to college, and she's a very, very successful young woman. So the point is that I had another one of my clients up in Canada on my Facebook page. She sent me a video where she was playing my I Affirm audios, because I created these affirmation audios. We call them I Affirm audios, where you can actually listen to audios of my empowering affirmations set to inspiring music. You can do it like 24 hours a day, or even listen in your sleep, or while you're exercising, eating, whatever. And she was playing my affirmations audios for her infant, who was like 2 years old, and her just newborn, who was like 4 months old, and playing my affirmations in the background. Why am I so happy? Why am I enough? Why do I believe in myself? I'm like, oh my God, these kids are going to be like, you know, unbelievable. You know, they're gonna have such self-belief that they're going to do amazing things. So absolutely, kids love affirmations, and they totally get it. They totally get it.
Lovely, no, lovely. Okay, and I think, you know, before I want to tell people and redirect them to especially your work. I think my last one is quite an interesting one. You talked about thought seeds, and I'm a firm believer in, you know, plant beautiful thoughts in your mind, and that will become your reality. Tony Robbins said, you know, quality questions create a quality life, and you know, that's what Noah St. John's work is. You know, Noah St. John's work is create those quality questions. But what I wanted to know is there a difference between prayer as such? Because, in the Bible, it says something like ask and it is given. And, you're asking affirmations, which is saying something as though it is with the Y in front of it. Is there a difference between, is that a prayer? What is it? Is it different? Is it just mind technology? I mean, there's a scientific approach and there's a spiritual approach, but I like to blend both of them.
Right. Absolutely. And a lot of my clients do as well. And so the point is that I believe that affirmations can be viewed as a form of prayer.
Okay.
Because as you just stated, in the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive. I mean, this is biblical, right? But they never actually told you how to ask, right? And you're right. Tony Robbins said that years ago. Hey, the quality of your life is the quality of questions. Great. What questions are we supposed to ask? He never told us, right? So I did. I'm the guy that said, here's how you do it, right? They never told you. And so that's why I've written all these books, right? And so the point is, when you're saying, why am I enough? What you are doing is you are doing exactly as you stated. You're doing a scientific experiment and you're doing a spiritual experiment. And so the point is, the scientific part is you're rewiring your brain. That's neuroplasticity. That's neuroscience. That's right there. But the spiritual part of it is you're accessing something greater than yourself. It's very easy to go around the world. I should say, go around in your life and saying, I'm not good enough. Why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why can't, these are questions that nobody wants to ask. But nevertheless, most human beings, if you look at the 7 billion humans on this planet, most people are asking pretty lousy questions.
Why do why do people ask those questions? What is it?
Because they haven't been taught my affirmations method yet. That's why, like I said, I've touched over 1 million lives. I want to reach over 1 billion lives so we can change the consciousness of this planet, which desperately needs it right now. So for everyone listening and watching this program, please go to affirmations.com. Join the affirmations revolution.
Yeah, I'm happy to be part of this because it's amazing to share this method, Noah. I mean, just in my own experience of why do things always work out for me? I happen to be at the right place at the right time, and things constantly seem to work out for me. And I can't always tell you why, but it just does. And I asked myself for years, why am I so lucky? And found myself winning so many holidays and things like that. Why am I so lucky? And I couldn't understand why, but it was because I was asking. And when I read your book, I was like, "Wow, I'm kind of doing that already." But when I asked myself, "Why did I double my income?" and then 6 weeks later, I began to double my income, I was like, "Oh wow, that's uncanny." So that was my own experience. And for the audience here and anybody watching or listening, please go and find Noah's book and look at his courses and find him online. So, first and foremost, where can people get hold of you? Where can people find your affirmation system? Because this stuff really works, Noah. This stuff really works.
It is very powerful. So very simply, AFFORMATIONS.com, AFFOR, make sure we put the O there, AFFORMATIONS, AFFORMATIONS, AFFORMATIONS.com for my affirmations. That's an online program, so you can access it anytime, anywhere on planet Earth. Also, to get my new book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. The book is free. We just ask you to cover the shipping. SendMeABookNoah.com. Very easy to remember. Send me a book, Noah.
Send me a book.
And I will send you a book, Noah.
Think of Noah's Ark and send me a book, Noah. There you go. Noah, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If people wanted to join your Freedom Lifestyle 21-day challenge, where could they do that then?
Yes, we have a Freedom Lifestyle Challenge where I actually help you to implement all this in your life, your business, your career, your relationships. FreedomLifeChallenge.com. Very also easy to remember. FreedomLifeChallenge.com. It is a 21-day challenge. It's online. So I give you an assignment, a mission every day that really changes your life in a very, very powerful and yet very simple way, very doable. So FreedomLifeChallenge.com. And if you want to just get in touch with me, to talk to me or have me on your program or whatever it is, NoahCoaching.com. NoahCoaching.com is a place to get in touch with me.
Fantastic. Well, Noah, thank you so much indeed for coming on the Super Soul Model series. He is our Super Soul Model this week, and we loved having you on the show. I've loved having you on the show, and I hope all my guests and all the audience thoroughly enjoy your message too. Guys, you want to try forming and find Noah's book because it will actually transform your life like it has done for me. Noah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And to all you watching, as usual, and listening. I wish you green lights all the way.